Mizizi hapa Haji kwa kitengo cha food science na kukuandalia mapochopocho.
Tunataka tu add value, ndio hizo vitu ziweze mkulima pia aweze kupata dhamana ya zile vitu au zile mazao ambayo anakusa shambani.
Usikose kujumuika nami siku ya Jumamosi saa 10:30 kwa uhondo kamili.
It is always a good time on Bridge over Congo.
Catch us every Saturday from 10 p.m. till midnight.
Join me, the Rumba Supreme Leader, the Grand Ayatollah Simeon Mfumo Kimbango, and
Winnie Marie Jose, Bridge over Congo.
Mungu esilakana nzungute kasielenge Mungu esilakana.
Chumvi huyeyuka chunguni, lakini ladha yake hubakia.
Dada's show felt it necessary to have a discussion on perimenopause, where we will get to explore the nuances of perimenopause in a bid to better understand it and to ease the transition.
So perimenopause is the transition to that point of menopause. Yeah. So as the eggs reduce towards the menopause, it means the estrogen levels also reduce. Yeah. And that comes with that now causes the symptoms that we get during the perimenopausal and postmenopausal period.
The night sweats were the most bothersome. Right now, the brain fog is easing and the insomnia has kind of resolved. But I've had to do something about it. The post, I think the perimenopause is the wildest because you have just come out of your youthful 20s, and now you're going through your 30s, and then towards the end of your 30s, things just are not working right.
Well, a very good afternoon to you. Great thanks for joining us and welcome to the Lunchtime News. My name is John Jacob Curia. And of course, many thanks to a sign language interpreter for the next 30 minutes or so. Let me tell you what is happening across the country, and indeed great news for the ACK Diocese of Nairobi. We can comfortably say that today they have a new bishop, and the bishop-elect is the Venerable Canon Jonathan Kabiru, who has been elected to succeed the Bishop Emeritus, the Right Reverend Joel Waweru. That election has happened at the St. Stephen's Jogoro dinner bait, and possibly so will be joining our reporter Wahungu, who is in St. Stephen's Jogorod. But in the meantime, let's just push this forward. Residents of Moy's Bridge in Uasin Gishu County are counting losses after a fire razed to the ground property worth millions of shillings. According to eyewitnesses, the fire allegedly originated from an electrical fault that spread to a gas cylinder shop and caused a huge explosion. Firefighters from the Trans Nzoia County government helped put out the fire, which destroyed more than 50 shops. Moy's Bridge residents, while hailing the Trans Nzoia County government for its quick response, urged the county government of Uasin Gishu to establish a nearby fire station in the region. No injuries or fatalities have been recorded as investigations to establish the cause of the fire commences. It was a mixture of grief and joy during the burial service of Monica Wajiro Kamunyu, a multi-generational person in Kiamburu, sub-location of Githunguri constituency, when her family and friends bid her a final farewell at the age of 115 years. Her sixth-born daughter, Roslyn Waithera Kamunyu, who is now 72 years old, attributes her mother's long life to the lifestyle she loved, or rather the lifestyle she lived, saying her food was only traditional, cultivated and gotten from her farm. Sentiments echoed by other family members who eulogized the centenarian as a God-fearing and great disciplinarian.
We will miss her for her garden food and how she cared for us. We will miss her. So devoted to God.
I'm the first of the grandchildren that she really taught us all things, how to mannerisms in aspects of respect to parents.
Amempatia maisha mazuri kutoka alipozaliwa 1910 mpaka leo 2025. Hiyo miaka yote amempa maisha mazuri.
The Department of Correctional Services is set to work closely with the judiciary to help resolve critical issues raised by inmates. This comes amid concerns raised by inmates about unfair administration, act and policies, case delays, unfair bond terms, access to justice, and overcrowding, among others. The decision was prompted after the visit by State Correctional Principal Secretary Salome Biako, that is the Principal Secretary for Correctional Services, who engaged the inmates at Thika Prison and reaffirmed her commitment to engage the judiciary to find lasting solutions to the challenges facing the inmates. This even as she acknowledged that many of the challenges raised are mirrored in many correctional facilities across the country.
And we have a master plan, a much bigger plan for addressing the state of penitentiaries in the country as directed as a presidential directive that was given last year. But in the short term, we are really using the approach of repairing what we already have, as well as the decongestion program that we are collaborating with the judiciary.
Moving on to Kakamega County, and a section of political leaders from the area have faulted the directive by Kakamega County Governor Ferdinand Barasa to ban the hawking of food in the streets and open spaces. Speaking at a funeral in Mumias West constituency, the leaders expressed disappointment with the governor's move, describing it as unjust to small-scale traders struggling to make a living. The governor, in a notice, however, reverted the directive permitting the traders to resume their operations or urging them to maintain their highest hygiene standards.
Kwa vile ni jambo ambalo linaenda kuumiza mama zetu hapa nyumbani na ndugu zetu hapa nyumbani, lazima niambie baraza hiyo upuzi awachane naye.
Haujui uzuri ya hiyo chakula hapo. Hawa mama zetu wanalipa karo kutokea kwa kuuza chakula hapo. Wewe unakuja unasema watoke town. Wewe mama, juzi tulikuwa na wewe tukikula hapo chini. Sasa umepandishwa na hawa mama akakupigia kura, umefika kwa ofisi unaona unatosha.
Na mimi nataka kuambiwa na biashara wetu ya kwamba nyinyi muko free kufanya biashara. Hiyo mambo ambayo mliona jana ile circular, as your governor, nimetupilia mbali. Jambo ambalo tunataka ni wana biashara, mkipata leseni ya kufanya biashara, kuchoma nyama pale, kufanya biashara ya kuuza chips, mkwe mnazingatia hali nzuri ya afya.
Confusion has gripped members of Full Gospel Mission Church in Kenya in Njokere village of Embu County following a botched attempt to rebrand it by a rival church. There was drama after a young man was on Wednesday found painting over the church name in readiness to rebrand it. On confrontation, the section of the members allege the young man claimed to be acting on instructions from Bishop Jeremiah Musiemi of Full Gospel Churches of Kenya in Embu Town. The members of a church that broke away from Full Gospel Churches of Kenya 5 years ago accused the bishop of trying to take over the church irregularly.
Hatua tulichukua ni ya kwenda kwa polisi, tukaulizwa maswali na polisi, tukajibu, tukakunya na polisi hapa wakaona, kukaa tena, sasa tukaenda kuandikisha ombi.
Sisi wakati tunafanya mambo kama haya mbele ya washirika inaleta commotion katika kijiji, inaleta shinda katika mawazo yao, mioyo yao inaugua, na Mungu ametuita tu tuponye mioyo ya walio teseka ama wanaosumbuka.
Akatuonesha ile jina ameambiwa andike, ndio sasa tukamwambia hapana, sisi ni washirika, and then kijana akaenda.
Energy and Petroleum Cabinet Secretary Opiyo Wandayi has warned against antagonizing the National Intelligence Service NIS through political pronouncements. Wandayi was responding to criticism of the NIS by his cabinet colleague Justin Muturi, who claimed that the intelligence agency was behind the abduction of his son, defended the NIS Director General from accusations that he was spearheading the disappearance of individuals. He stressed the need to preserve the credibility of security agencies by freeing them from political entanglements.
Lazima tuwe chonjo sana na matamshi yenu. Juzi tumesikia mambo ya kushangaza sana. Hata ikiwa tuko na mambo yetu, ikiwa tuko na shida zetu, even if we have got our own personal issues, we should be very careful to safeguard the integrity of our institutions. Institutions as important as the National Intelligence Service must be protected from political rhetoric.
In the meantime, a section of Garissa elders have condemned recent remarks made by Public Service Cabinet Secretary Justin Muturi, linking the abduction of his son 6 months ago to the spy master Nuruddin Haji. The elders have accused the CS Muturi of launching unwarranted attacks on government officials working with him in the same administration, besmirching their integrity. They claim the northeastern region has recorded the highest number of abductions and extrajudicial killings of victims, yet they have allowed the government room to get to the bottom of any security threat.
Mimi namwambia watu ya Kenya, Kenyans, hii nchi Mungu ametupatia. Tulinde hii nchi. Tuvumiliane.
Awache maneno ya kugawa wa Kenya. Awe ni mtu ambao mzee anaheshimika. Atumie ile heshima yake ile ya zamani, amelinda Kenya.
Some story of hope here. Most nomadic communities in the country have for the longest time been traditionally pastoralists, where they rear and keep their livestock while at the same time moving from one point to another in search of pasture and water. With prolonged droughts in recent years, many livestock keepers have lost millions of their livestock to hunger and diseases as the effects of climate change continue to bite. To mitigate some of these challenges, Yathri Primary School in Garissa, with support from 4BM and MLUG organizations, have devised an innovative way of planting crops and vegetables using corn gardens. The school project has yielded several harvests that have benefited the school and, by extension, the community. Speaking during the official handover of the project to the school, Sheila Kidenda, the project manager at 4BM, said that the project aims at empowering the peoples and the surrounding communities.
Mimi namwambia watu ya Kenya, Kenyans, hii nchi Mungu ametupatia. Tulinde hii nchi. Tuvumiliane.
today we are fully handing over the project to the school, and moving forward they'll be able to take care of it and use the produce to support the school feeding program.
We realize this area, there is scarcity of water, and this project is very suitable for this area because within a very small space you have a lot of vegetables. If these vegetables could have been spread, it could have carried like 2 acres, but you can imagine it's less than a point, but you have up to 5,000 seedlings that we planted in this place.
Hii project inasaidia sana ama imetusaidia sana kwa sababu wanafunzi ndio wamefanya hii kazi. The harvest ambayo tunatoka kutoka kwa shamba inatosheleza na the whole school, shule inaweza ikakula na community pia inaweza ikatumia.
I've learned a lot about this planting, and it will help a lot of people. This food is gonna benefit our country, our city, and a lot of people in this country.
Time for us to take our first breather right here on the Lunchtime News. We're coming back with more news. Don't go too far.
Step up with DSTV and we'll show up by giving you more incredible entertainment. It's game time. Upgrade your subscription between the 13th of January and the 31st of March and get an even higher package for a whole month on us. I nominate myself. If you're on Access, step up to Family and we'll step you up to Feel better than putting a little bit in but getting a lot out. Step up and we'll step you up. Dial *423# or download my DSTV app to upgrade today.
Wema. Data Show felt it necessary to have a discussion on perimenopause, where we will get to explore the nuances of perimenopause in a bid to better understand it and to ease the transition.
So perimenopause is the transition to that point of menopause. Yeah. So as the eggs reduce towards the menopause, it means the estrogen levels also reduce. Yeah. And that now causes the symptoms that we get during the perimenopausal and postmenopausal period.
The night sweats were the most bothersome. Right now, the brain fog is easing and the insomnia has kind of resolved. But I've had to do something about it. The post, I think the perimenopause is the wildest because you have just come out of your youthful 20s, exactly. And now you're going through your 30s, and then towards the end of your 30s, things just are not working right.
Following the swearing-in of William Kabogo as the new Minister for ICT, Digital and that is ICT Communication and Digital Economy, he has called on Kenyans to be responsible as they use social media to avoid infringing on the rights of others. The CS, who assumed office on Saturday, also vowed to put his best foot forward to ensure that he delivers on his mandate with a keen focus on digitization, improving connectivity and fighting corruption in the ministry. The CS was handed over the tools of operation by the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Musalia Mudavadi, who emphasized the need to improve government communication. CS Kabogo takes over the ministry that was previously held by Dr. Margaret Nyambura Ndongo. He becomes the third Cabinet Secretary to serve the ministry under the Kenya Kwanza administration.
This ministry has a major role to play to make sure that it helps the President and Government General to develop and, of course, pursue its agenda to provide service to the people.
So mambo ya kuweka internet kila mahali, hiyo ni kazi yetu. Mambo ya kuleta image ya Konza iwache kuwa hiyo mheshimiwa Prime Cabinet amesema, hiyo ni jukumu letu. Very quickly, I will be everywhere. Not micromanaging, but understanding what it is that we are doing. and hoping that we shall be able to do that together as a team. Freedom of expression, freedom of saying things that you need to say, but you know that freedom is limited to the extent it interferes with the freedom of others. If we can strike that balance and talk to each other, we should be able to strike a balance, and we have no issues of flow of information on either TikTok, YouTube.
Sasa unapata mtu mzima, wengine hata ni profesa, anajua sheria, lakini anachukua namba ya Mdavadi, anabwaga kule nje, anasema msalamie. And he's a professor, deliberately infringing the privacy laws, you know, and basically calling for anarchy.
Apart from that transition happening in the Ministry of Information, Communication and Digital Economy, to some sad story where 2 people lost their lives along the Machakos-Kitui Road in the Kaseve area on Friday evening, following a head-on collision between a Toyota Probox and a 14-seater Matatu. Machakos Police Commander Patrick Labolia, while confirming the incident, attributed the accident to speeding by the private car. This even as he cautioned drivers to adhere to road safety regulations to avoid unnecessary loss of lives. The injured were rushed to Machakos Level 5 Hospital for treatment.
14 of them were taken to the hospital with slight injuries, and unfortunately, the driver of the Probox, registration number KCY 562C, and 1 passenger died on the spot. My question to the drivers is that let us keep your lane when you are driving, and people should not take alcohol. Don't take alcohol when you are driving.
The population of a beast of a burden, otherwise known as the donkey, in the Rombo region along the Kenya-Tanzania border has doubled in the last 3 years. According to animals welfare organizations, the increase has been attributed to the reduction in the slaughtering and theft of donkeys in the region. Speaking during a free animal immunization drive in Kajiado County, veterinarian Dr. Dennis Bahati urged farmers and donkey owners to prioritize animal health. Donkeys for years have been a key source of livelihood for residents in the region.
Tumepata ripoti nyingi sana ambao punda walikuwa wanaibiwa kutoka nchi jirani ya Tanzania, wanaingizwa Kenya, wanaingizwa kwa vichaka na wanachinjwa. Na hiyo kitu imeumiza jamii sana kwa sababu punda wamekuwa wakiibiwa na wamama wameteseka.
Wakati tunatafuta fees ya watoto na inalingana na kama ni punda ndio inatusaidia. Sababu tukipeleka sokoni au tukienda kutafuta mzigo, yani ni punda ndio watabeba na walete huku nyumbani na wasafirishe upande wa Tanzania. Hasa hapo ndio utapata pesa ya nyumbani, utapata pesa ya shule.
Junior secondary schools in Mwingi are struggling with the lack of essential facilities, ranging from classrooms to books. Mwingi Primary School, one of the schools with the largest enrollment in the region, has not been left behind in the current plight affecting schools owing to the new curriculum transition. However, the school's head teacher, Dominic Njagi, says the transition to grade 9 was smooth and successful despite the challenges.
Serikali ilikuja ikabadilisha masomo ikaacha kuwa 14 ikawa 9. Na kuna masomo ambayo ilifanywa ile tunaita integration. Ikakuja ikatolewa ikachukua somo imejisimamia ikawekwa kwa somo lingine ikawa somo moja. Na kutoka huo wakati hatujapata vitabu ambavyo vimekuwa integrated. Ile challenge nyingine tuko nayo, kuna wanafunzi walikuja wakaripoti na wakaripotea. Na sasa unapata mwanafunzi anakuja sasa wale ambao walikuwa na wao wakati ule wakiwa 9. Na anataka kujiunga na 9.
Ile changamoto tuko naye, wazazi wengi wanataka kuleta watoto kwa shule, lakini sababu ya mijengo yetu hatuwezi ruhusu. Changamoto kubwa ni walimu. Grade 9 tuko na 9 streams na walimu ni only 9. Tunahitaji karibu walimu 15, so inabidi tujipange.
In sports, 8 times Kenya Cup Rugby champions KCB will host Nakuru in the 5th round of the 2024-2025 Kenya Cup campaign at the KCB Sports Club, Ruaraka, later today. The Bunkers, under the leadership of head coach Oliver Mangeni, will be seeking their 5th win of the season this weekend.
KCB RFC team coach Oliver Mangeni will make minimal changes to his squad that thrashed Mwamba 88-2 last weekend when they take to the field later today to play Nakuru RFC as they hunt for a 5th win of the season.
Nakuru is a good outfit and we expect a very tough game. Matches between Nakuru and KCB have never been easy. So for us, it's not about them anymore. We'll have to do what we have to do as a team so that we go meet them and get the maximum points.
At the back, Elvis Namusasi, Austin Sikuto and Levi Amunga are set to start together with favourites Bob Muhati, Emmanuel Silungi, Jack Adero and Laban Kipsang. KCB will, however, miss the services of experienced Vincent Onyala, Samuel Asati, Floyd Wabwire and Festus Shiasi, who have joined the national side for the upcoming Part 7s in Australia next weekend.
We are gelling, and I told the whole playing unit that by mid-Jan we'll have a squad of 35 that we'll be selecting from. So, and everyone has put up their hand and they are trying to really push for selection. And the competition is very healthy. You never know who will make the team out of the 35. So it is the 35 that will be rotating week in, week out. But we're trying to build some consistency going into these harder matches.
KCB sit at the top of the Kenya Cup table ahead of Kabras, Menengai Oilers and Kenya Harlequins. They have a 12-point difference, recording yet another incredible start to the season after the departure of tactician Curtis Olago last year. In the meantime, the Kenya national sevens rugby team Shujaa is leaving this afternoon for Australia, where they will take part in the 3rd leg of the HSBC Sevens. The team camped in Nakuru before coming back to Nairobi for their final training ahead of the Perth Sevens, where they look forward to a victorious outing. The team is drawn in a tough pool with series leader Fiji, New Zealand and Uruguay in Pool C, having collected 11 points from Dubai and Cape Town. Head coach Kevin Wambua retained most of his squad members from those outings, brought in Vincent Onyala and Brian Tanga, who was out with an injury. The Perth Sevens is scheduled from the 24th to 26th of this month in Australia.
Push through the tackle in Kenya. Is that the Turner right foot step? Turner too strong. Straight off the set piece. And a couple of players have slipped. This is way.
I'll just start from a kickoff. And again, you give him a little bit of space and he'll take all of it. But he is so quick. We saw him last week do the exact same thing.
Here comes Spain. Arauto surveys his options. He comes open side. One pass over the top to Kevin Wakesa, and they do score, Kenya.
Great to see them back and see them playing the way they like. Oh, he drops the shoulder there. Wardorp, but look at the way they finally get it to the open side. It's not the best pass from Samuel Asati. Variation is actually a dead duck, but it gets the job done.
Remember, just 3 teams in the pool. You only play 2 pool games. Counter ruck here from Kenya. They've got the ball back. It's George Odo. He gets away. Odo!
What about the counter ruck? They go through. He comes in the boot, and then they exploit the blind side. But look at the way he's able to.
And that's just it. It puts a cap on the lunchtime news this Saturday. But just a reminder that in a few days or months, there will be transition in the Nairobi Diocese of the Anglican Church after the election of the Venerable Canon Jonathan Kabiru, who is now the replacement of Bishop Emeritus Joel Waweru. There will be transition in the ACK Diocese of Nairobi, and congratulations to the Venerable Canon Jonathan Kabiru. Have yourself a good afternoon. See you around. My name is John Jacob Curia. Lucy Mwaura was our sign language interpreter.
differently.
What Elizabeth dismissed as a headache and dizziness later on turned to paralysis.
Nilishikwa tu na kizunguzungu, nilikuwa njiani nikienda kazi. Saa vile nilishindwa kwenda nilirudi. Saa ikakuwa nilianza kukosa kuona.
Nitumia scratches for a while. Juu ya hiyo hundu wakati nilikatwa niliambiwa nikae for some time.
When people lose a limb due to accidents or other reasons, we give them a new limb so they can walk again.
Hawa si watu wamejuana leo. They must be hiding something.
Hii dunia unaangalia